Hey guys, this is the Fight Nerd here after Bellator 44 with Bellator CEO Bjorn Rebney at a slightly earlier time than last time. Last time we spoke is almost 2 in the morning. This time just a little bit after 1. Nice change of pace.
Thank you. I'm just trying to get us earlier and earlier. Next time it'll be midnight.
That'll be nice. But either way, Bjorn, I got to say, welcome to New Jersey. Great show, great debut for you guys to have. Let's get right down to business tonight. Main event, Patricky Pitbull, Michael Chandler. Chandler moves ahead. He's going to take on Eddie Alvarez coming up next year, I assume. So let me ask you right now, do you think that Chandler has the tools to dethrone Alvarez?
Well, the answer to that question is I didn't think Chandler had the tools standing to compete against Patricky Pitbull. When I looked at this fight and I was analyzing where the fight would go, my assumption was that Chandler would be looking for the takedown at every single moment because Patricky Pitbull, other than Eddie Alvarez, I thought was the best striker we had at 55. And for him to come in and outstrike Patricky Pitbull says something to me. I mean, his wrestling, his wrestling and his grappling, that goes without saying. You know that's at an elite world-class level. But his striking, Patricky Pitbull came in here as the run with the Razor Rob knockout and the Toby Amata knockout, which was just stunning, as a guy who you would never have assumed that a wrestler like a Mike Chandler would have stood with and banged, and he did. So Chandler's performance was spectacular. Chandler's performance was really spectacular tonight. Like I said earlier, use the word phenom a lot, but man, it applies in this situation. That kid is the real deal. He's tactically. We were here at 8 o'clock this morning doing a sound check, and Mike Chandler was in the cage working through technique and working through his strategy. 2 trainers, sparring partner, big gloves, whole thing, walking through everything he was going to do. And as I was sitting in watching the fight tonight, I'm watching him doing the things that I saw him doing at 8 o'clock this morning as he was walking through that plan of action. So, I don't know, something special. Eddie Alvarez, I think, is the best 55-pounder in the world, but Mike Chandler, Eddie Alvarez is a spectacular fight, and I'm looking forward to it.
I'm just impressed you're awake at 8 in the morning and you're still awake now.
Dude, there's a lot that goes into this show, brother. So, and it's excited. I still got all the energy in the world right now.
I don't know how you do it, but either way, tonight also was supposed to happen, but didn't happen, unfortunately, was Lyman versus Dan Hornbuckle. They're going to fight to be in the welterweight tournament next season. So what's going to happen with those guys? Are they going to get a bye and just both be in the tournament, or are they going to fight again to still qualify and come up to the next season or at a later date?
Yeah, we're waiting to get word back from Lyman in terms of where his injury is and when he's going to be able to come back. If he can come back soon enough and we could put him in a fight against Hornbuckle before the end of our July event, then the answer would be yes. They could do that eliminator and one of them could qualify. If he can't fight before July, it brings up other issues, and we've got to determine what we would do from there. 70 is going to be stacked coming up this fall. I'd love to have one of the 2 of them in it, but I would love it if they could fight and go through the qualification process and one of them could earn their way in. So we'll see. It's all up to Lyman.
No.
It's all up to Lyman and his injury. I know he would. Lyman would like to have fought tonight. Yeah. He's got the heart of a lion, but let's see what that injury, how it plays itself out.
Or a cyborg, technically.
Pardon me?
Heart of a cyborg, that's the
Yes,
nickname.
exactly.
Right now, also tonight we saw Hector Lombard against Vitali in a fight that we had a few comments tonight, in fact, that was a little lackluster, a little slow, and Hector Lombard took offense to those comments. So what did you think of the fight tonight?
I think, you're not old enough to have probably sat down with buddies and watched Mike Tyson pay-per-views 20 years ago, but I did. And when you would buy those pay-per-views, because he was the biggest draw in the boxing game for a series of years, he would end fights in 20 seconds or 12 seconds or 32 seconds, and everybody would look at everybody and go, oh, it ended too soon, we didn't get to see anything, and they would be disappointed. And then you would buy another pay-per-view with Mike Tyson 3 or 4 months later, and Mike would take it into the 3rd or the 4th, and everybody would start going, oh, Mike's through, Mike looks awful, look at, he's carried this fight into the 3rd round. Hector can't win. Falanico Vitali, who beat Yushin Akami, who is fighting for the UFC title against Anderson Silva, and Hector went all the way into the 2nd round with him before he knocked him out. So, Hector Lombard has set up a dynamic for himself. His last 2 fights before this one, he was in the cage a combined 42 seconds for us. And you can't do that every single time you step into the cage. He's a spectacularly talented middleweight. He's got every facet of the game and knockout power in both hands. So, I don't know. He gave another YouTube moment to Bellator Fighting Championships. Another guy left completely out. And another guy wasn't just a guy who came in off the street. It's Falanico Vitali. He's fought some of the greatest fighters in this game. He's got wins. Yushin, Matt Lindland, the list goes on. So I don't know. People can say what they want, but Hector's a dominant beast.
That's the good word, the beast right there. So moving ahead now, season 5 coming up. What are the weight classes we're going to see contended in tournaments?
135 pounds stacked top to bottom. Our 35 division is just going to be unbelievable coming up. I mean, the list goes on and on, but I mean, obviously the marquee name in it is Warren's dropping from 45 down to 35. We're going to do middleweight. Vitor Vienna, who we just signed, is a phenom. A lot of people don't know Vitor Vienna, but he is something special coming in at 85. Brian the Beast Baker just earned his way in with his last knockout. Jared Hess is going to be in the tournament, and a list of very, very talented fighters. Obviously, Shemenko is going to be back in with something to prove. We're also going to do welterweight, and then we're going to do heavyweight. We've got some great heavyweights that are going to come out. Ron Sparks, Prindle, Neil Grove, big monsters fighting for us next week. He has a good performance. He'll be in. Guys with big knockout power. I mean, last time we did a heavyweight tournament, as you know, we had a lot of guys in there that were disproportionately focused on going to the ground. This time we have a heavyweight tournament, and it just so happens that the guys we've been signing and recruiting are focused on knocking people out. So, yeah, heads will roll. It should be a great tournament. So, you know, heavy 35, welter, middle, should be great. And then, of course, this summer, 45. Marlon Sandro, Ronnie Mann, Pat Curran, some Nazareno Malagari's coming back after the loss to Daniel Strauss. Now he's 21-1, but a huge talent. So pretty stacked.
I've heard some rumors about a women's 125-pound tournament. Is there any confirmation about that?
We've been talking about it. It's not confirmed, but we've sure been talking about it. We're trying to figure out how we could bring Megumi Fujii back, how we could get Zoe Lafrosto on board, and obviously we can't go anywhere north of 25 if those two ladies are going to compete.
I should correct you, Zoe Zurgel.
Pardon me?
Zoe Zurgel, yeah.
My bad. But Jessica Aguilar as well. Jessica's going to fight for us coming up at the Hard Rock show, but we can't go anywhere past 25 to let those women compete, and I think those women are, three of the probably top 6 women on the face of the earth. So we're trying to put it together. It's not done yet, but we're trying to figure out how to make it work.
Hopefully we do. Now, Bellator 43 last week, I saw Brian Baker propose to his girlfriend. Now, I've got a proposal for you, Bjorn.
Yep.
I'd like to propose, will you come back to New Jersey soon?
I would love to come back to Jersey. I mean, you just saw it. Packed. The first fight goes into the cage, and every seat in the house is filled, and it's standing room only. Where do you see that in a mixed martial arts event? I mean, we weren't anywhere near television, and there was not an available seat in the house. It just... great venue, huge excitement, and they knew their MMA. Everybody was excited at the right times and knew what they were watching. I would love to come back here. We've already talked. I mean, literally, the guys from Caesars came up to me, and we're already talking about dates. So we will be back here. This is a great venue.
Any chance of going to maybe a bigger venue? This was a little smaller venue, I must admit, for what's in the area. Yeah. Any chance to go to a bigger venue next time?
We'll have to talk to the guys at Caesars and see what works for them. I mean, like I said earlier, this was a spectacular location, but it's such a congested location when it comes to great entertainment, and they bring so many great acts here that sometimes the weekends when we've got a live and free show on MTV2 may not correspond to the time they've got avails in terms of their dates for an event here, but we'll coordinate with them. We will be back here in short order.
So Bellator will be back on the East Coast sooner than later, hopefully. Bjorn, it's late. Go eat something, for God's sake, please.
All right, man, thanks.